first of all, I want to apologize for the incident on Saturday night and damage to the property over in Cobblestone. I know that a derailment with property damage in your neighborhood can be unsettling and concerning, and I know that you have questions and you want to understand what happened. So in an effort for us to be transparent and direct about the nature of the situation and what we're doing to prevent this from happening again, I'm happy to be here to answer some questions from the community and kind of describe what happened. But this was what we call a human factor incident. The train's locomotive was having mechanical issues. The crew was parking the train on the Fredericksburg yard tracks to take the locomotive back to Richmond. This is an uncommon situation. One section of the train was tied down improperly or not parked properly. Those cars rolled down the tracks into a device called a split derail, which caused several cars to leave the tracks before reaching the main line. A hopper car struck the sound wall, and the sound wall then toppled into the garages. The derail devices are safeguards to prevent loose cars from rolling onto the main line tracks by intentionally sending them off the tracks. This derail was installed long before the garages and the sound wall were built on the property, but it was clearly too close to the adjacent property. This may sound counterintuitive, but the device worked as intended and possibly prevented a larger scale incident if loose cars had reached the main line. In short, this was an uncommon situation where a mistake was made securing the cars. The safeguards worked as designed, but the device was too close to the adjacent property and sound wall. As far as our response, immediately after the incident, CSX employees from our operations, public safety, hazmat, and risk management claims teams were on site, assisting and coordinating with Fredericksburg Fire Department and local and regional first responders. We're grateful for the continued support and partnership with the Fredericksburg Fire Department and other local first responders. We are actively working with impacted property owners to make them whole, and the property manager at Cobblestone to rebuild the sound wall and the garages. So there's a couple things we're doing to prevent this type of situation from happening again. First, we're going to move the location of the derail to a place where, when it does act when it does act as it's designed, it's not impacting neighboring property. We're going to review locations of derail devices across our network to ensure appropriate distance from adjacent property. We're also going to provide additional training for securing equipment in uncommon situations like those encountered on Saturday, as well as improve the process for assisting employees who need help in these types of situations. When we have a derailment like this, taking care of the needs of the communities first. We try to learn from the incidents and then take steps to address issues and engage in positive ways to improve the situation moving forward. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share this information. Again, we apologize for the incident, and we're actively taking steps to prevent this from happening again. We've been here for a long time, and we have this situation in a lot of different places where development builds up around, like over time near us, and there's could be impacts in situations like this. Where that's part of the reason why we're going back and reviewing kind of where we have these devices and make sure that they're not those situations, and also something that to be mindful from a planning perspective is when you are developing near the railroad tracks, as much space away from us as possible is really in everybody's best interest.
Property owners have the carte blanche to do whatever they need to do to identify the problem and restore it, and then they will submit the invoices to us, and then we pay them back directly as part of the claims process. And it goes the same with the people's belongings inside the garages as well. I'm working with the individual affected property owners or lessees, and then they're going to take, when they can, they're going to take inventory of what's damaged, destroyed, not damaged, and then I'll work with them directly or through their insurance company, however they want to do it, to make sure they get made whole.
And that's our priority from the property side, is making sure everyone is made whole for any damages in the garages and cars or the other personal effects, plus whatever that the complex decides to do with this with the sound wall. So the derail devices are in the end of yard tracks where there are to keep cars from getting onto a main line. Right now we're not servicing any of the propane customers or tank cars through Fredericksburg, and so you're seeing very few of them compared to what we saw in the past. What that device is designed to do is prevent any type of car from getting onto the main line where there could be significant damage, and it forces it to kind of come off the tracks and stop when in these rare situations when they are loose. Those are on the yard tracks are on the west side of the yard by the Mayfield community, so I think that would be less of a concern because it's on the other side.
The reason why I asked the question is because there's interchanging of the cars down in the yard.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
There's a possibility of that not being a safety issue.
I don't think that there's any additional safety concerns there.